Sanitation is the hygienic means of promoting health through prevention of human contact with the hazards of wastes as well as the treatment and proper disposal of sewage wastewater. Hazards can be either physical, microbiological, biological or chemical agents of disease. Wastes that can cause health problems include human and animal feces, solid wastes, domestic wastewater, industrial wastes and agricultural wastes. Hygienic means of prevention can be by using engineering solutions, simple technologies, or even by personal hygiene practices. The World Health Organization states that sanitation generally refers to the provision of facilities and services for the safe disposal of human urine and feces. Inadequate sanitation is a major cause of disease worldwide, and improving sanitation is known to have a significant beneficial impact on health both in households and across communities. The word sanitation also refers to the maintenance of hygienic conditions, through services such as garbage collection and wastewater disposal. The term sanitation is applied to a wide range of subjects such as, improved sanitation, refers to the management of human feces at the household level. This terminology is the indicator used to describe the target of the Millennium Development Goal on sanitation, by the WHO-UNICEF Joint Monitoring Programme for Water Supply and Sanitation. On-site sanitation, the collection and treatment of waste is done where it is deposited. Examples are the use of pit latrines, septic tanks, and imhoff tanks. Food sanitation refers to the hygienic measures for ensuring food safety. Environmental sanitation, the control of environmental factors that form links in disease transmission. Subsets of this category are solid waste management, water and wastewater treatment, industrial waste treatment and noise and pollution control. Ecological sanitation, an approach that tries to emulate nature through the recycling of nutrients and water from human and animal wastes in a hygienically safe manner. History. The earliest evidence of urban sanitation was seen in Harappa, Mohenjo-Daro and the recently discovered Rakhigarhi of Indus Valley Civilization. This urban plan included the world's first urban sanitation systems. Within the city, individual homes or groups of homes obtained water from wells. From a room that appears to have been set aside for bathing, wastewater was directed to covered drains, which lined the major streets. Roman cities and Roman villas had elements of sanitation systems, delivering water in the streets of towns such as Pompeii, and building stone and wooden drains to collect and remove wastewater from populated areas, see for instance the Cloaca Maxima into the river Tiber in Rome. But there is little record of other sanitation in most of Europe until the High Middle Ages. Unsanitary conditions and overcrowding were widespread throughout Europe and Asia during the Middle Ages, resulting periodically in cataclysmic pandemics such as the Plague of Justinian and the Black Death, which killed tens of millions of people and radically altered societies. Very high infant and child mortality prevailed in Europe throughout medieval times, due not only to deficiencies in sanitation but to an insufficient food supply for a population which had expanded faster than agriculture. This was further complicated by frequent warfare and exploitation of civilians by autocratic rulers. Sanitation refers to the safe disposal of human excreta. This entails the hygienic disposal and treatment of human waste to avoid affecting the health of people. Sanitation is an essential part of the Millennium Development Goals. The most affected countries are in the developing world. Population increase in the developing world has posed challenges in the improvement of sanitation. According to Zawahiri, Soares, and Weinthal, lack of provisions of basic sanitation is estimated to have contributed to the deaths of approximately 3.5 million people annually from waterborne diseases. Wastewater collection. The standard sanitation technology in urban areas is the collection of wastewater in sewers, its treatment in wastewater treatment plants for reuse or disposal in rivers, lakes or the sea. Sewers are either combined with storm drains or separated from them as sanitary sewers. Combined sewers are usually found in the central, older parts or urban areas. Heavy rainfall and inadequate maintenance can lead to combined sewer overflows or sanitary sewer overflows, that is more or less diluted raw sewage being discharged into the environment. Industries often discharge wastewater into municipal sewers, which can complicate wastewater treatment unless industries pre-treat their discharges. The high investment cost of conventional wastewater collection systems are difficult to afford for many developing countries. Some countries have therefore promoted alternative wastewater collection systems such as condominial sewerage, which uses smaller diameter pipes at lower depth with different network layouts from conventional sewerage. Wastewater treatment. In developed countries, treatment of municipal wastewater is now widespread, but not yet universal. In developing countries, most wastewater is still discharged untreated into the environment. For example, in Latin America only about 15% of collected sewerage is being treated. Health impacts of sanitation. For any social and economic development, adequate sanitation in conjunction with good hygiene and safe water are essential to good health. Lack of proper sanitation causes diseases. Most of the diseases resulting from sanitation have a direct relation to poverty. The lack of clean water and poor sanitation has caused many diseases and the spread of diseases. Sanitation is very important in order to keep good health. One of the most significant diseases that arise from poor sanitation is diarrhea. Deaths resulting from diarrhea are estimated to be between 1.6 and 2.5 million deaths every year. Most of the affected are young children below the ages of 5. Other diseases that are caused by poor sanitation include schistosomiasis, trachoma, and soil-transmitted helmintiasis. Poor sanitation accounts for almost 50% of underweight child since it has a direct link to diarrhea. Children suffering from diarrhea are more vulnerable to become underweight. According to Mara, Lane, and Scott and Truber, about 26% acute respiratory infections occur in children who are malnourished, which has a direct link to diarrhea. Sanitation is a serious issue that is affecting most parts of the world, especially the developing countries. On a global scale, the most affected are children who in most cases lose their lives due to diseases caused by poor sanitation. Major initiatives need to be set up if the MDG goal on sanitation is to be achieved by 2015. On-site treatment. In many suburban and rural areas, households are not connected to sewers. They discharge their wastewater into septic tanks or other types of on-site sanitation. On-site systems include drain fields, which require significant area of land. This makes septic systems unsuitable for most cities. Reuse of wastewater. The reuse of untreated wastewater in irrigated agriculture is common in developing countries. The reuse of treated wastewater in landscaping, especially on golf courses, irrigated agriculture and for industrial use, is becoming increasingly widespread. Ecological sanitation. Ecological sanitation is sometimes presented as a radical alternative to conventional sanitation systems. Ecological sanitation is based on composting or vermicomposting toilets where an extra separation of urine and feces at the source for sanitization and recycling has been done. It thus eliminates the creation of black water and eliminates fecal pathogens. If ecological sanitation is practiced, municipal wastewater consists only of greywater, which can be recycled for gardening. However, in most cases greywater continues to be discharged to sewers. Sanitation and public health. The importance of the isolation of waste lies in an effort to prevent diseases which can be transmitted through human waste, which affect both developed countries as well as developing countries to differing degrees. It is estimated that up to 5 million people die each year from preventable waterborne diseases, as a result of inadequate sanitation and hygiene practices. The effects of sanitation has impacted the society of people throughout history. Sanitation is a necessity for a healthy life. The results of studies published in Griffin's Public Sanitation show that better sanitation produces an enhanced feeling of well-being. Relevant diseases include waterborne diseases, which can contaminate drinking water, diseases transmitted by the fecal-oral route, hookworm, where eggs can survive in the soil. There continues to be many countries that are struggling with diseases due to unhealthy living conditions and unfiltered water, all in the name of bad sanitation. Global access to improved sanitation. The Joint Monitoring Programme for Water Supply and Sanitation of WHO and UNICEF has defined improved sanitation as follows. flush toilet, connection to a piped sewer system, connection to a septic system, flush/pour flush to a pit latrine, ventilated improved pit latrine with slab, composting toilet. Some special cases, the JMP publishes a report of updated estimates every 2 years on the use of various types of drinking water sources and sanitation facilities at the national, regional and global levels. In March 2012, the JMP released its latest updates. According to the definition above, 1.8 billion more people used improved sanitation in 2010 than in 1990, bringing the percentage of people using improved sanitation to 63% globally. However, the world remains off track for the sanitation target of the Millennium Development Goals. 2.5 billion lack improved sanitation. According to the JMP, if current trends continue, in 2015 2.4 billion people will lack access to improved sanitation facilities. 15% of the population still practice open defecation, defined as defecation in fields, forests, bushes, bodies of water or other open spaces. This represents 1.1 billion people. Though the proportion of people practicing open defecation is decreasing, the absolute number has remained at over 1 billion for several years, due to population growth. In 2011 the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation launched the Reinvent the Toilet Challenge to promote safer, more effective ways to treat human waste. The program is aimed at developing technologies that might help bridge the global sanitation gap. This outcome presents substantial public health risks as the waste could contaminate drinking water and cause life-threatening forms of diarrhea to infants. Most cities can neither afford a sewage drainage system, nor a sewage treatment system, as Sunat and Narain spelled out in the magazine D+C Development and Cooperation. Improved sanitation, including handwashing and water purification, could save the lives of 1.5 million children who die from diarrheal diseases each year. Solid waste disposal. Disposal of solid waste is most commonly conducted in landfills, but incineration, recycling, composting and conversion to biofuels are also avenues. In the case of landfills, advanced countries typically have rigid protocols for daily cover with topsoil, where underdeveloped countries customarily rely upon less stringent protocols. The importance of daily cover lies in the reduction of vector contact and spreading of pathogens. Daily cover also minimizes odor emissions and reduces wind-blown litter. Likewise, developed countries typically have requirements for perimeter sealing of the landfill with clay-type soils to minimize migration of leachate that could contaminate groundwater. For incineration options, the release of air pollutants, including certain toxic components, is an attendant adverse outcome. Recycling and biofuel conversion are the sustainable options that generally have superior life cycle costs, particularly when total ecological consequences are considered. Composting value will ultimately be limited by the market demand for compost product. Food preparation. Sanitation within the food industry means the adequate treatment of food contact surfaces by a process that is effective in destroying vegetative cells of microorganisms of public health significance, and in substantially reducing numbers of other undesirable microorganisms, but without adversely affecting the food or its safety for the consumer. Sanitation standard operating procedures are mandatory for food industries in the United States, which are regulated by 9 CFR Part 416 in conjunction with 21 CFR Part 178.1010. Similarly, in Japan, food hygiene has to be achieved through compliance with food sanitation law. Additionally, in the food and biopharmaceutical industries, the term sanitary equipment means equipment that is fully cleanable using clean-in-place and sterilization-in-place procedures, that is fully drainable from cleaning solutions and other liquids. The design should have a minimum amount of dead leg or areas where the turbulence during cleaning is insufficient to remove product deposits. In general, to improve cleanability, this equipment is made from stainless steel 316L. The surface is usually electropolished to an effective surface roughness of less than 0.5 micrometer to reduce the possibility of bacterial adhesion. Improving access. The United Nations Millennium Development Goals include a target to reduce by half the proportion of people without access to basic sanitation by 2015. In December 2006, the United Nations General Assembly declared 2008 the International Year of Sanitation, in recognition of the slow progress being made towards the MDG's sanitation target. The year aimed to develop awareness and action to meet the target. Particular concerns are, removing the stigma around sanitation, so that the importance of sanitation can be more easily and publicly discussed. Highlighting the poverty reduction, health and other benefits that flow from better hygiene, household sanitation arrangements and wastewater treatment. Research from the Overseas Development Institute suggests that sanitation and hygiene promotion needs to be better mainstreamed in development, if the MDG on sanitation is to be met. At present, promotion of sanitation and hygiene is mainly carried out through water institutions. The research argues that there are, in fact, many institutions that should carry out activities to develop better sanitation and hygiene in developing countries. For example, educational institutions can teach on hygiene, and health institutions can dedicate resources to preventative works. There are also civil society organizations providing the necessary infrastructure where national governments cannot do that on their own. In Ghana, there is an umbrella organization for those programs, called CONOWAS, as reported in the magazine D+C Development and Cooperation. The Institute of Development Studies' coordinated research program on community-led total sanitation is a radically different approach to rural sanitation in developing countries and has shown promising successes where traditional rural sanitation programs have failed. CLTS is an unsubsidized approach to rural sanitation that facilitates communities to recognize the problem of open defecation and take collective action to clean up and become a open defecation-free unregistered trademark. It uses community-led methods such as participatory mapping and analyzing pathways between feces and mouth as a means of galvanizing communities into action. An IDS in Focus policy brief suggests that in many countries the Millennium Development Goal for sanitation is off track and asks how CLTS can be adopted and spread on a large scale in the many countries and regions where open defecation still prevails. Regulation. In the United States, sanitation is a legislative requirement of occupational safety and health, which is governed by 29 CFR Part 1910.141. See also. References. Poor sanitation threatens public health. U.S. Fed News Service, including U.S. State News 2008. Bartram, Jamie. How health professionals can leverage health gains from improved water, sanitation and hygiene practices. Perspectives in Public Health PPA 215 221 External links, IRC World Health Organization Overview on Sanitation, hygiene and wastewater resource guide.